humanity's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Over the past 2.8 million years, members of the genus Homo have overcome immense challenges, transforming themselves from simple tool makers into masters of technology. In just the last 200 years, advancements in science and medicine have pushed the average global lifespan to 73 years, a feat unimaginable to our ancestors. But the road here wasn't just long, it was grueling. For most of human history, life was short and brutal, with lifespans barely surpassing a few decades. Consider this. In 18th century France, people lived only 27-30 years on average. In classical Greece, just 25. The Neolithic period, a mere 20 years. Yet, compared to our ancient relatives, modern humans have had it easy. Life for early humans wasn't just harsh, it was often unimaginably cruel. Paleontologists frequently unearth chilling evidence of early Homo species who met tragic and violent ends. Take Homo habilis, for instance. This 2-million-year-old species endured a life so bleak it borders on tragic comedy. A recent study revealed that the average Homo habilis lived just 12 years. Yes, 12. Most didn't even make it to their teens, and since infant and neonatal remains were underrepresented in the study, the true mortality rate, and thus their life expectancy, was likely even lower. Such a fleeting existence makes Homo habilis arguably the most unfortunate members of our genus. If there was ever a human species you'd dread waking up as, it would be them. Their story is a grim reminder of how far we've come and how much we take for granted. These short lifespans weren't just the result of a harsh environment, but also limited medical knowledge and the lack of tools to address basic health issues. Every day was a fight for survival, and time was an unrelenting enemy. Early humans were woefully underprepared for the challenges they faced. While evolution gave them bipedalism and larger brains, these advantages came with significant trade-offs. Walking upright caused back problems and increased the risks during childbirth. Their physical build was no match for the speed, strength, and weaponry of the predators they encountered. Progress in tools and social structures was slow, leaving early humans exposed and vulnerable. Evolution was happening, but at a frustratingly sluggish pace compared to the world of danger they inhabited. The early human diet was far from ideal. As scavengers, they relied on whatever they could find: raw meat, tough roots, and wild plants. This limited diet often lacked essential nutrients, leading to malnutrition and stunted growth. Eating raw food introduced parasites and infections, while the hard, fibrous texture of their meals caused severe dental wear and decay. Even with the advent of simple tools to process food, their diet remained a daily gamble, often doing more harm than good to their fragile bodies. Subscribe now to join our exclusive community where we explore prehistoric humans and extinct animals twice a week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out. Survival on the ancient plains was never guaranteed. Early humans shared their world with predators whose power and ferocity we can only begin to imagine. Apex hunters ruled the land, sky, and water, and humans were often the prey. Take the ancestors of today's lions, for example. Panthera fossilis, the Eurasian cave lion, was one of the largest lions to ever roam the earth, weighing up to 800 pounds, twice the size of modern lions. These cats were formidable predators, capable of taking down mammoths and bison. For a small, vulnerable group of humans, avoiding their notice was a matter of life or death, and lions were far from the only threat. Across Africa, Europe, and Asia, the landscape was crowded with competitors. Leopards, jaguars, hyenas, and even giant bears roamed the same territories humans depended on for food and shelter. Each hunt for a meal brought humans dangerously close to becoming one. The Pleistocene era was an incredibly competitive time. Large predators flourished due to abundant megafauna, and humans were just another resource. What set humans apart was their ability to adapt. but even then, their survival often came down to luck. Water holes, vital for hydration, were deadly. Crocodilians, like Crocodilius thorbjarnarsoni, giants that could grow up to 27 feet, lurked beneath the surface, waiting for the unwary. Humans had no choice but to take the risk. Shelter was critical. Humans relied on caves and high ground for safety, but even these were not guaranteed sanctuaries. Packs of hyenas or bears often claimed the same spaces, leading to violent encounters. In a world teeming with predators, every decision, where to sleep, where to forage, when to hunt, carried immense weight. Against these odds, humans persevered. They were not the strongest, nor the fastest, but their ability to learn, adapt, and cooperate ensured that they endured, even in a world that seemed determined to erase them. In the shadowy hours of dusk and dawn, the ancient savanna belonged to the cats. These weren't the lions and leopards of today, but their far more formidable ancestors. They were larger, faster, and more fearsome, and humans were very much on their menu. Pantheroatrox, or the American lion, was the largest cat to ever prowl the earth. Weighing up to 1,000 pounds, it was built for power and speed. With a range spanning from North America to parts of South America, these cats were apex predators, capable of taking down prey far larger than themselves. For early humans, encountering one of these beasts was a nightmare scenario. But Pantheroatrox wasn't alone. Across Europe and Asia, its counterpart, Panthera spelaeum, the Eurasian cave lion, dominated the landscape. Cave paintings and fossil evidence suggest these lions actively hunted humans, particularly in vulnerable moments, like gathering water or resting at night. Big cats like Pantherotrox and Panthera spelaea didn't just rely on brute strength. They were highly strategic. Their hunting methods combined stealth and explosive speed, giving prey little chance to escape. Humans, without their modern tools or weapons, were easy targets, especially when alone or injured. Fossil evidence paints a chilling picture of these encounters. Claw and bite marks on early human remains tell the story of desperate struggles that ended in tragedy. While some may have escaped, others fell prey to these relentless hunters. What made these cats especially dangerous was their size. Modern lions are intimidating, but ancient big cats were often twice their weight and significantly more muscular. For a human armed with nothing more than a sharpened stick, the odds of survival were slim. These predators loomed so large in the minds of early humans that they became central figures in their art and stories. Caves across Europe and Asia contain depictions of giant cats, likely serving as warnings or tributes to their power. In the fight for survival, humans faced some of the most fearsome predators to ever walk the earth. These giant cats ruled their world, but over time, humans would learn to adapt and push back. Still, the scars of those encounters remain etched in our collective memory, a reminder of how close we came to being another species left behind. Among the most terrifying predators of the ancient world was Smilodon populator, a saber-toothed cat of staggering size and strength. Towering over its modern counterparts, this formidable creature wielded dagger-like teeth capable of slicing through flesh with ease. With its robust build and specialized hunting techniques, it was a nightmare for early humans. Even in groups, people stood little chance against such a predator, whose very presence shaped how humans approached survival and safety. Saber-toothed predators weren't limited to just Smilodon. Other fearsome species, like Homo prowled the ancient landscapes, each with its own deadly adaptations. Unlike Smilodon, which relied on ambush tactics, these predators were built for endurance and speed, enabling them to chase down prey over long distances. For early humans, this variety in hunting strategies made survival even more precarious. Whether they encountered a stealthy ambusher or a relentless pursuer, the outcome was often the same. Humans were outmatched. The ancient world was home to Pachycracuta, a massive hyena capable of crushing bones with its powerful jaws. Unlike modern hyenas, this giant predator was less of a scavenger and more of an active hunter, often competing directly with early humans for food. Adding to the threat were smaller, cheetah-like hyenas that used speed and agility to exploit weaknesses. These predators created a constant struggle for resources, leaving humans in a dangerous contest for survival against some of nature's most efficient hunters. Ancient rivers and lakes were dominated by colossal crocodilians, such as Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni. These giants, far larger than today's crocodiles, were apex predators capable of ambushing any creature that ventured too close to the water. With their immense size and incredible bite force, they could easily overpower early humans, who often depended on these waterways for drinking, fishing, and foraging. For our ancestors, every trip to the water's edge was a life-threatening gamble, as these predators lurked just beneath the surface, waiting to strike. In the ancient world, surviving a single predator was a miracle. But imagine being attacked by two. This is the story of one unfortunate hominin who met a truly horrific fate, leaving behind a fossil that tells a tale of survival and tragedy etched in bone. This remarkable specimen, discovered in East Africa, belongs to an early human ancestor who lived nearly 1.5 million years ago. Analysis of the bones revealed a chilling sequence of events. First, a crocodile attacked, leaving its distinctive bite marks. But the story doesn't end there. The puncture wounds on the femur aligned perfectly with the dental structure of a large crocodilian. This individual was likely ambushed near the water's edge and pulled into the river. However, other damage on the bones suggests they escaped, only to fall victim to another predator, likely a large mammal. Fleeing one predator often meant running straight into the jaws of another. On land, this individual likely encountered a large carnivore, perhaps a saber-toothed cat or hyena, which delivered the final blow. The dual nature of the injuries is unmistakable. Crocodilian bite patterns are broad and crushing, while the sharper, slicing marks suggest the involvement of a large mammalian predator. This fossil tells a story of relentless danger, where survival was always a matter of seconds. Water sources were essential but perilous. They provided hydration, food, and materials for survival, but they were also ambush points for predators. Cooperation and vigilance were the only tools that could tip the balance in favor of survival. This specimen isn't just a relic of an unlucky individual. It's a snapshot of life's brutal reality for early humans. Their world was one of constant vigilance, where even the strongest or smartest could fall prey to the unpredictable dangers of the wild. Though this hominin's life ended in tragedy, their story lives on, offering us a vivid reminder of the challenges faced by our ancestors. Each fossil, each mark on the bone, tells a story not just of death, but of survival, resilience, and the constant battle for existence in an unforgiving world. Early humans lived alongside enormous snakes like Gigantophus, which posed a constant and silent threat. These predators, capable of ambushing and constricting their prey, forced humans to develop sharper instincts and quicker reflexes. Over time, the presence of such dangerous reptiles likely influenced group behaviors and the development of defensive tools. This evolutionary pressure wasn't just a battle for survival. It shaped how humans adapted, becoming more vigilant and resourceful in a world where the danger could strike without warning. While predators were a constant menace, herbivores and omnivores were no less dangerous. Massive creatures like mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses, and giant boars were territorial and highly aggressive when provoked. These animals could crush or gore with terrifying ease, making any interaction potentially fatal. For early humans, even scavenging or hunting these giants came with extreme risks, Their sheer size and strength meant that humans needed to tread carefully, as survival often depended on avoiding their wrath. Dental issues were a constant and painful reality for early humans. A diet filled with tough, fibrous plants and raw meat caused severe wear and tear on their teeth. Cavities, infections, and abscesses were common, often leading to chronic pain and even death when untreated. Without modern dental care or tools, even a simple toothache could escalate into a life-threatening condition. Nearly everyone suffered from these problems, making oral health one of the most widespread challenges of the time. The Ice Age brought with it unforgiving environmental extremes. Humans faced bitterly cold temperatures, relentless winds, and periods of drought that made finding food and shelter incredibly difficult. These harsh conditions pushed early humans to their limits, forcing them to adapt or perish. Seasonal swings often created cycles of famine, while glacial advances reshaped entire landscapes, driving migrations and sparking conflicts over scarce resources. Surviving this climate was a constant battle, with little relief in sight. For early humans, survival wasn't just about enduring the elements or escaping predators. Sometimes, the greatest threat came from those who looked very much like themselves. During the last Ice Age, the world was home to not one, but at least 4 distinct human species: Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, Denisovans, and the elusive Homo floresiensis. They didn't just coexist, they competed. Resources were scarce: land, water, food. Each was a prize worth fighting for. And when 2 species crossed paths, the outcome was often violent. Archaeological evidence tells the story of these clashes. Skulls show signs of blunt force trauma, arrowheads embedded in bone, and settlements burned to the ground. These weren't isolated incidents. They were battles for survival. For Homo sapiens, aggression and strategy often gave them the upper hand. They were skilled hunters, masters of teamwork, and adept at using their environment to their advantage. Their weapons were more advanced, light, precise, and deadly. Neanderthals, on the other hand, relied on brute strength, wielding heavier, cruder tools. In one-on-one combat, a Neanderthal could overpower a Homo sapien. But numbers, strategy, and speed often tipped the scales in favor of our ancestors. Denisovans, though less understood, also engaged in conflicts. Their remains have been found in mountainous regions, suggesting they were driven to the edges of habitable land, forced to defend their territory against encroaching Homo sapiens. Not every encounter ended in violence. There were moments of trade, cooperation, and even interbreeding. But these alliances were fragile. Trust was a rare commodity, and survival often outweighed diplomacy. Meanwhile, Homo floresiensis, the so-called hobbits of Indonesia, avoided conflict by staying hidden. But even isolation couldn't protect them forever. Their small size made them vulnerable, and eventually they too disappeared. One by one, the other human species vanished. Some were absorbed through interbreeding, others were pushed to extinction. By 400, 0 years ago, Homo sapiens stood alone. The story of human survival is not just one of endurance, it's a story of dominance. We didn't inherit this earth alone. We took it, often through violence from those who once shared it with us. Today, we are the last human species. But the echoes of that ancient competition still linger in our genes, our instincts, and the scars left on the land by the battles fought long ago. Among the lesser-known threats were giant baboons several times the size of the human therapists, such as the battle between the Toronto Orthodoxes and the very famous Frederick, which exhibited aggressive and predatory behavior. These oversized primates were not just scavengers, but active hunters capable of targeting humans. Their strength, sharp teeth, and pack mentality made them formidable adversaries. Sharing habitats with these primates meant constant vigilance, as their intelligence and aggression added another layer of danger to an already hostile world. New analyses suggest that the lifespans of early humans might have been even shorter than previously believed. High infant mortality rates, coupled with injuries, infections, and constant threats from predators, drastically reduce survival odds. Many individuals didn't live past their 20s, and those who did were often plagued by health issues that made old age a rarity. These shorter lifespans highlight just how brutal and unforgiving life was for our ancestors, where every year survived was an extraordinary achievement. Despite the dangers, the hardships, and the constant fight for survival, life for early humans wasn't all struggle. There were moments of triumph, joy, and even beauty. And it's these moments, the good parts, that made survival worth it. The ability to create fire wasn't just about warmth or cooking. It brought people together. Around the fire, they shared stories, forged bonds, and built the first seeds of culture. It was a place where knowledge passed from one generation to the next. Teaching and learning were vital. Every skill, how to hunt, how to find water, how to craft tools, was a gift passed down. And with each new lesson, humanity grew stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Art was another spark of light in their world. Cave paintings, carvings, and even primitive music gave them a way to express themselves, a glimpse into their hopes, fears, and triumphs. A successful hunt was more than just a meal. It was a celebration. Food meant life, and sharing it with others strengthened the bonds of community. Together, they faced the harshness of the world, and together, they celebrated their victories. And there was joy. Early humans danced, sang, and found moments to celebrate life in all its forms. They may have lived in a world filled with danger, but they also knew how to find happiness in simple pleasures. Family was their foundation. The birth of a child, the love between parents, the protection of the tribe, these were the things that gave their lives meaning, even in the face of overwhelming odds. And let's not forget the beauty of their world. Towering mountains, endless plains, star-filled skies. Early humans lived closer to nature than we can imagine. Every day they experienced the raw, untamed beauty of a world still in its infancy. Their world was harsh, yes, but it was also full of life, connection, and wonder. And perhaps that's the most important lesson they left us. Even in the toughest times, there is always something worth living for. Hit that subscribe button now and press the video now popping on your screen to uncover how one 95,000-year-old discovery rewrites the archaeology world. Mitochondrial Eve. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, and see you there.